What is up, my brothers from another mother? To my right over here, I've got Tanner Guzy. We just wrapped up the 21 convention here in Orlando, Florida. And Tanner was one of the speakers during the course of the last few days, and he touched on components of style and masculinity and how those two things tie in together. You guys have asked me a few times on the channel about where I got my shirt or a certain piece of attire, and quite often I don't put a great deal of thought into it. It's usually the store. So what I want to do is I want to hand it off to Tanner. He's going to kind of break down the 3 types of archetypes that he spends a lot of time around, and do a little bit of an assessment, I guess, on me, because
yeah,
channel. So
it'll be fun to talk about.
Hand it off to my brother. What's up?
Awesome. I'm excited to be here.
Cool, man.
To get a chance to talk to you. He killed it with his presentation, by the way. Yeah,
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
If you guys get a chance to see any of that footage, make sure that you go and do that. I guess before we dive in a little bit about what the archetypes are, we should probably tee it up and just make sure that you guys know that style is not one of those things that, it's not like you're either wearing like basketball shorts and a t-shirt or you're wearing a suit. Like, it's not this kind of weird dichotomy that a lot of times it's presented to us as. Is you're either formal or you're casual, or you're a slob or you're dapper, or whatever kind of weird binary we want to set it up with. Really, your style is good as long as you are using it to tell a story about who you are and what you're trying to accomplish with your life. And so one of the ways that I've been able to help men understand that is what Richard was talking about, is this idea of the 3 different style archetypes. And basically, these are determined by the way that you interact with the world around you. So the first archetype is rugged, and it's basically if you are a guy who is physical, you like to get your hands dirty, you like to physically affect nature and the world around you through physical, tactical means, then you probably fit within that archetype. Now, if you're someone who's more into the idea of like status and money and politics and leveraging different social components and dynamics and things like that, then you're most likely going to fit within the refined archetype. And when you think of that, that's where you can think of things like suiting or stuff that's a little bit more dapper, or things that fit within that component. That's personally where I fall. And then the third one is rakish, and that's for you guys who, you're rebels. Like, you don't want to fit in, you don't want to follow the rules. The primary way in which you interact with the world is by actually going against the grain. And so you want to dress in a way that actually is indicative of that. You're comfortable being in the spotlight because you're drawing attention to yourself, and you've actually got a strong component of that to you as well.
Right.
Yeah. And so if you know kind of where you fall, and especially because if you can figure out how you blend all 3 of those, which you do, you've got rugged and rakish in there, then it makes it so that you all of a sudden know a direction that you can start heading towards in actually improving your style, so that you can get out of kind of this rut of, I still dress like I did when I was in high school,
right,
or I don't care, because you care, your identity may be injected in you don't care, but you care, to actually leveraging it into something that works for you and going in the right direction. Because for you, wearing a suit all day every day doesn't work for you.
No.
That doesn't benefit you any more than basketball shorts and a t-shirt does.
Exactly.
And so you have to be able to know where you're going and then start to take care of it accordingly.
Cool. So how would you kind of break down, I guess, recommendations, elements of style for a guy like me, bald, bearded, picked up heavy stuff, put it down my entire life, so I've got a little bit of muscle on me. You've met me, we've chatted a lot over the last few days. Like, what would your recommendation for a guy like me to express myself outwardly, and also color components too, because I think that matters.
Absolutely.
Certain colors based on skin tone, hair color, beard color, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for you, you've got an advantage of, you've already kind of started in a direction that works for you.
Right.
I don't think I've seen you in anything other than a black t-shirt in the 5 days that we've been here, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a personal uniform.
Yeah.
Dark jeans. But then what Richard does that's really cool is he takes this, it's kind of like your normal, almost stereotypical, like dark jeans, black t-shirt, which you would associate with a guy with a burly beard, a strong physique, and a shaved head. But then he puts a little tweak on it by doing loud shoes. Right? And so it's just that little bit of rakish, because what most guys would do in your situation is they'll wear boots, or they will wear like some black Vans or something else that's congruent with like that whole rugged, dangerous kind of biker outlaw type thing.
Right.
But then you just put that little twist on it by wearing shoes that are a little bit louder, or wearing socks that are a little bit louder. And then what that does is it makes you look not necessarily one-dimensional, but multi-dimensional, because you're able to tell a slightly different version on a story that a lot of people are already used to seeing and used to consuming from people who look like you.
Right. So just to touch on that a bit, brown dress shoes, brown belt, and I think I was wearing red socks that day when you made that comment. And you know, for me, that style element has always been pretty like basic bitch stuff for me. It's like, you know, the belt has to match the shoes. Is that fairly consistent?
Yeah, and I mean, you can get as pedantic about that as you want to, where basically the general rule is if you're wearing brown leather, then you don't want to also wear black leather.
Right.
But you don't want to be like, well, this belt is like a good deep chocolate and my shoes are a cognac, and so I can't, like, you don't need to get that crazy about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the general rule, and it's more just because it's indicative of intentionality and an understanding of the rules, is you don't want to mix blacks and browns when it comes to leather. That said, I've seen guys who've been able to do it in a way where they're communicating, I know the rules and I intentionally choose to break them, which fits within that rakish archetype. Because some people would even take it so far as to say a black t-shirt and brown leather have no business working together.
Got it.
But because your stuff fits well, because you're obviously doing this stuff on purpose, then it's another way to do the kind of rakish, rebellious components while still showing that you're doing it on purpose, instead of just like, I don't know what makes things look good or what doesn't make things look good.
And where does the element of different colors come into play when you're selecting clothing? Like most gingers that I've met that have style together will wear more earthy tones, browns, greens, things like that. I've got blonde eyebrows, green eyes, you know, dark beard. And my skin complexion's weird because in the summertime it's either, because my mom's Greek and my dad's British, so it can either be, you know, sunburned if I'm early into the season, or it can be pretty nicely tan. So, like, are there certain color components that match better with skin tones, hair colors, and stuff like that?
And you can go as far down the rabbit hole as you want with that. I don't recommend it. You know, I mean, you think about women and they will go in to get like a makeup evaluation, and it's, I'm going to help you figure out your one of 1,000 different skin tones so you know it perfectly. And for us, like the ROI on going that deep doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing, then the easiest way to do it is to just determine if you have a warm complexion or a cool complexion. The easiest way to do that is if you look at your wrists and you look at the veins on the inside of your wrists. If they're kind of a greenish tint like mine, then you've got a warm complexion. Yours are more blue, and so you've got a cooler complexion.
Okay.
And so what that means is you will look better in cooler tones, which are things like blacks and grays and colors that have a blue base to them.
Right.
And I will look better in browns and creams or earth tones or colors that have a gold base to them.
Which is weird because it took me a while to figure that out, not even knowing the whole vein component, but it was like trying on different clothes. And then after a while you see yourself in pictures and you're like, huh, I actually look kind of good in that black t-shirt, which is why he mentioned, you know, I tend to gravitate to the uniform of the black, you know, t-shirt.
Yep. Even like with your sunglasses where they've got silver on them versus all the metal that I wear is gold tinted.
Right.
And if we were to swap that out, it just looks less good. And it's one of those things where most people won't be able to quantify, and it's like, oh, he's got a cool complexion, but he's wearing warm tones. It's like, no, but they can just tell. Everything just steps up a little bit when you wear the colors that are right for you. And for you guys who, I mean, one of the biggest benefits to knowing what colors do and don't work for you is it immediately eliminates so many different things. So your decision fatigue, the amount of energy that you have to invest in trying to figure out, like, well, should I get this shirt or should I buy those pants or anything else? A lot of it, the work is done for you because you know what does and doesn't work for you.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's leave it at that because I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. I'm not the style consultant on YouTube. This guy is. Why don't you tell them where they can find you, what your YouTube channel is, and all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So if you guys just look me up here on YouTube, it's Tanner Guzy, so that's TANNERGUZY. I put out stuff about once a week, and I dive into some of the semantics and some of the technical stuff like this, but what I really focus on is the sociological and philosophical component of why you should care and why caring about the way that you look will actually help you in your desire to become the best version of yourself.
Awesome, and that's what the channel is all about. So link below for Tanner's YouTube channels and websites and stuff. Thanks for checking out the video. Leave a comment, smash the like button, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.